Hi guys, welcome to Visordown. My name is Alex, and today, slightly different one for you because we've had a first ride in the UK, which is the different bit. So the Moto Morini family have released a new model on the 649cc twin platform, and it's the Seimmezzo. They've got a street and a scrambler. Pointed to the wrong one, so you've got a street and a scrambler. And basically they're two sort of budget friendly but high spec models that you can basically pick up in dealerships from the end of November. And we've been riding around today for around about 60-70 miles, and I've got to say, it's been top fun. So I'm just going to do quick, real first impressions, a few bits of spec, say what I thought about the bike, and we'll go from there. So both bikes are very similar, but of course the street is going to be more sort of roadster oriented, and the scrambler is going to be a little bit more, in my case anyway, a little bit more relaxed, and you can potentially take it off-road. They have the same steel trellis frame, they have the same motor, which is that 649cc parallel twin. It's got around about 80 Newton meters of torque and around about 60 brake horsepower. I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's it. And to be fair, riding it on the road, it feels absolutely great fun. It's really aggressive in a sort of easy way to ride. It sounds a bit confusing, but when you're going through first, second, third, the power is quite instant and delivered very nicely. Then it's a smooth sort of gradual tape off. So when you're in the high gears and the high revs, it's burbling away at you and it's nice and aggressive, and you feel like you can really start poking it into corners and really having a bit of fun. But when you're cruising, it's just nice and planted, nice and smooth, and twist the throttle in fifth gear and it's just a nice gradual increase of speed. And that's a nice mix in terms of what you're going to use the bike for, because if you're going to be on a little Sunday jaunt in the twisties, as we've been today in the sort of Peterborough area, it's great fun. Mid-corner, loves it. Sometimes the throttle is a little bit sensitive, especially at the sort of low speeds. If you quickly twist it on, it will lift up a little bit. And in the right hands, that means that perhaps you're going to get the wheel up. My hands, perhaps not. The Scrambler is something that I really enjoyed riding. The handlebars are a little bit more wider, a little bit more tucked back, and gives you that neutral riding position, whereas the street is more of a sort of narrow feel. Both completely fine to ride, both comfortable, but for me the Scrambler just had that little bit extra sort of comfort advantage for me, and as a taller rider, I'm always looking for that bit of comfort. As you can see, you also get a little screen there, whereas on the street model you can't. And you do get, of course, the accessories catalogue you can dive in, so you can look at the travel screens and that sort of stuff. But in terms of wind protection on the street, there's not much at all. In other spec on this bike, they are basically all really nicely spec'd up. Suspension is Kayaba 43mm forks. They are adjustable. You've got a rear shock as well that you can adjust. You've got Brembo brakes front and rear with ABS. The ABS did kick on a little bit today in the damp, and that's a good thing because you want the ABS to help you out. And sometimes mid-corner, if you were to dab a little bit of rear brake just to sort of tease it, it didn't really kick in too much, it was okay. But yeah, I mean, on damp roads, you always want a little ABS to help you out. You've got full LED lights, you've got a daytime running light, and the TFT screen is really nice. On these ones, I was quite surprised to see that there's two different displays. So on the street, it's quite, I don't know how to say it, in terms of, it's quite basic, but it looks really nice and sleek. But on the Scrambler, it's a little bit more rugged. When you accelerate through, the numbers start popping out and showing different colors, and as you get higher in the revs, when you need to start shifting up, it will start showing more red rather than blue, orange colors. And that's quite a nice little touch. There's also smartphone connectivity, and all in all, the TFT is a really nice little unit. I will say that sometimes the cables got in the way a tiny bit. You've got a gear indicator, and sometimes the cable is going to be just in the way of it, so you have to poke your head or push the wires in. Tiny little things like that you notice, and just get on with, but in any case. So fuel range, you're looking at around about 100 miles per tank, and that's perfectly fine if you're looking at a city cruise or, you know, something in the Sunday hills if you're looking for an adventure. And to be fair, 100 miles per tank, not too bad. It's an 810mm seat on both the street and the Scrambler. The Scrambler has a slightly different seat, quite nice. The street one, pretty standard, but comfortable. I will say again that the Scrambler was that little bit more comfortable for me. And if I was looking at both of these, I'd be looking at the Scrambler. And that reminds me, I don't even mention the price. The street, I believe, is £6,699, and the Scrambler, £6,999. And for that, you're getting really high spec, a bike that runs really nicely. It looks, in my opinion, pretty nice, especially the Scrambler with the gold suspension and the spoked rims. I mean, love a spoked rim. Anyway, For the price, under £7,000, you're getting a really, really nice motorcycle, and it's really good fun to ride. Of course, you know, it's just a very nice naked bike. You've got the same sort of look and style of like maybe an MT-07 or maybe the XSR 700 or the Hondas, or there's so many naked bikes out there now that you start to think, well, I'm looking for a little bit more budget, but then also I want some spec, and that's where these sort of come in. Of course, Moto Morini are known as an Italian brand, but of course built in China. So you may have your reservations in terms of long-term reliability. But the parts on these, I mean, they're forks that you've heard of, Kayabe, you've heard of the Brembo brakes. You've heard of basically a lot of the parts on here. So you're gonna have that faith that the ride, as well as the sort of continuation of the bike, is gonna be good. And it rides really nicely. So just as a real quick roundup, I mean, we've been enjoying a lovely little ride today. The weather was looking a bit touch and go, but we got away with it. And I've got to say, really enjoyed riding these. As a first impressions, it was very nice. I'd love to take one of these into, say, the city and then see what it's like in terms of like maneuverability in between cars and traffic. But when you're really looking at what a bike's all about, you take it out into the country roads and in the sort of Peterborough area in the Midlands, you're starting to get loads of those twisty roads where a bike comes to life. Of course, you're revving out every gear, you're really putting your head down and just getting on with it, and this was great fun. My personal opinion, the Scrambler is the way to go, but the Street is definitely something you should be considering in terms of the price, the weight, which is around about 200 kilograms. They're just really nice bikes to get on with. As I say, they're going to be in dealers from the end of November, so it's well worth going to your local Moto Morini dealer. And as they said, they're looking to get in more and more dealerships by the end of this year, and then continuing building that dealer network, which everyone is very keen to see. And of course, check out a test ride, see what you can do with it. What do you think about these bikes? I want to know. Comment down below what you think is better, the Scrambler or the Street. And if you'd be considering a test ride on one of these as a sort of budget competitor to even the MT-07, which is a very top seller. In any case, thank you so much for watching. My name is Alex. Go and read the full review on Visordown.com. Like, subscribe, comment, you know the drill. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.